This is Eric Erb Live. You can find me online at theericerbshow.com. And of course, right here on Spreaker.com/the Eric Erb Live. And also on Anchor. That's anchor.fm, anchor.fm/Eric Erb Live. Like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast, folks. Okay, let's get into the news today. I didn't want to do a podcast on this, just designated to this subject, but I'm going to, just with the recent events in the last month or two. And it just seems like it's an issue, just like with coronavirus, that doesn't want to go away. But I'm going to cover this here in the news here today. I'm pulling from naturalnews.com. That's naturalnews.com. Monday, August 24th. The date is 2020, the year. So this is where I'm pulling from the headlines of naturalnews.com. And the headlines are, folks, Black Lives Matter movement has opened up the door to the destruction of America. And that's what the headline is saying. And so I'm going to get into this, and I'm going to break this down for you a little bit, and hopefully you'll have some understanding as to what is going on here. Okay, the article starts out from naturalnews.com. There is no denying the fact that America is a very different place than it was even just a year ago. Even if you count the discount of the coronavirus pandemic, we're seeing our cities transform, and not for the better. Writing for LifeSite News, Marianne Kreitzer explores how Black Lives Matter movement and its protest have led to a situation where America's cities now have mob bosses who are essentially allowed to disobey the police and create disorder. We are Democrat versus Republican, and order versus chaos and rioting, black versus white, tyranny versus freedom, etc. Increasingly, disagreements result in mob action promoted by progressive politicians, liberal courts, prosecutors who justify and enable rioting, violence, both by their words and actions, she writes. So, okay, let's let's break that down. Everything she said pretty much is all true. I give you with the George Floyd that happened just a month or two ago with Mr. Floyd, the officer Derek Chauvin that put a knee to Mr. Floyd's neck, and the end result was Mr. Floyd died. Mr. Floyd had, a track record of lots and lots and lots of criminal activity. Okay, I'm downplaying this and being nice, and I shouldn't. He's been arrested. He even was caught after he put a gun to a pregnant lady's head, threatening to kill her. Or stomach, rather, it was stomach. So Mr. Floyd has a track record, or had a track record, of being arrested in and out of jail, in and out of prison multiple times. So Mr. Floyd was not an angel. I'm not taking away anything the officer did, Derek Chauvin of Minnesota, of course. I'm just simply saying that the Black Lives Matter movement that's supposedly sprang up all over this one incident, which was, by the way, created, bought, and paid for by George Soros and company, and Bill Gates is part of that, and Zuckerberg's part of that. You have to understand out there, folks, I'm skipping around just a little bit, but to give you some background information, that these people that are behind the scenes, they're the ones that's controlling the outcomes of what you see on TV, what you hear in the news, the radio, anything you do. These are the elite people. For right now, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is the mouthpiece, if you will, for all of humanity. He's the person you see on TV. He's the person you see has all the answers to COVID-19. Give everybody the shot. George Soros, a couple steps higher up the ladder, up the elite ladder, George Soros is the person that's funding through his sources and through third parties that he funds. He funds Antifa. He funds Black Lives Matter. That's what you should know. The Black Lives Matter movement was created to start rioting and chaos. It wasn't over George Floyd. It never was over George Floyd. You guys are smoking crack if you think it's over George Floyd. It's not. It was created, bought and paid for by George Soros and funded back channels through different affiliates. Black Lives Matter organization, to create chaos because they want to get Trump out of the presidency. They want to knock him out, get him out any way they can. And that's not a conspiracy theory. That's the truth. Because they don't like Trump and they hate Trump. And you'll say, well, yeah, Eric, but what does this have to do with Black Lives Matter? Well, I'm getting to that point. Since George Soros funds, and I repeat, funds, F-U-N-D-S, Black Lives Matter, again, through third-party affiliates and through the back channels, so he can't be traced back to the money. Whatever George Soros wants, he gets. Just do a YouTube search. Matter of fact, probably not a good idea because YouTube buries any information. You try to find stuff on Bill Gates. If it's not positive, they bury it. You try to find stuff on Hillary Clinton, the same thing. George Soros, if it's anything bad about these individuals, they hide it. The algorithms hide it or they just take it down. That's how that goes. But back on track here, Black Lives Matter, and again, along with Antifa, are bought and paid for by George Soros. The Black Lives Matter protest quickly lost whatever semblance they may have had to peaceful protest and devoted into something more far sinister and targeting everyone. Even sometimes their own supporters' rational thinking has gone out the window and have been replaced by emotional and impulsive mob mentality. And that's very, very true. They don't think. All they want to do is act. And most of these young people, they're probably millennials or younger than millennials. Let's just say maybe the 18 to 30 age, somewhere in there. I'm probably pretty close here. These millennials, let's say, all they want to do is they want to go out and they think that going out and actually rioting and going out and committing arson and violence and destruction and tearing up cop cars, and they think all of this is just like a friggin' game. They think all of this is like a video game. So yeah, it's cool, let's go out. Well, when the police start shooting back tear gas and start shooting rubber bullets and they get hit, they're like, damn, shit, this shit hurts. Holy crap. I'm not going to go out. If that motherfucker's shooting rubber bullets at me, I better get a gun or something. And so this is the mentality when they do something wrong. And then the police, if the police are not being held back by one of these stupid liberal mayors or governors, Democratic governors, I might add, so that they can actually fight back and do their job, it's all rigged and engineered. The governor's telling the police to hold back, the local law enforcement, the governor's letting these people riot, and the mayors are letting these people riot because they don't care. They want destruction. They want to force the United States into a civil war. They want all this shit caused because they want to bring it in, A, the New World Order, and B, they want to get Trump the fuck out of the White House as soon as possible. And they figure the most chaos they can cause, the better. And by causing this chaos, this will get Trump out of office, and they can bring in the New World Order, a new way of controlling. And I'll get into that on another podcast. Back to the article before I finish up here, folks. This is something that the Portland mayor, Ted Wheeler, recently learned the hard way. As Kreitzer points out, the vocal supporter of Black Lives Matter, he recently held a listening session on city's issues. Instead of getting a warm welcome, he was jeered and hit by projectiles as rioters attacked and called for his resignation. And yet somehow he still continues to condemn the presence of federal officers protecting the federal courthouse in his city? Are you fucking kidding me? Here's a guy that shit's being thrown at him as he goes to a sit-down. That's your first mistake. You can't negotiate with terrorists or rioters. That's your first mistake. You always in negotiations, folks. This is Education 101. You always in negotiations. Remember, if you come from a power or a point and a position of weakness, okay, you cannot negotiate hardly anything other than maybe surrender. But when you come from a point or a power of strength, then the odds are in your favor considerably when you're sitting down, you're negotiating. I don't care what you're negotiating. If I have the upper hand on somebody and I know it, then you can sit down and you can work out a good deal. Even if it's something I have the power and they don't, then you can control the situation. You can control the outcome, or what you hope to be outcome, a lot better when you come from a position of power. So, all right, back to the article. Wheeler also cut millions of dollars on the police department, defunding its gun violence reduction team. Not surprising, the city noticed that its higher number of monthly gun murders in 30 years, and now Wheeler's considering reestablishing the unit. Well, no shit, Mayor Wheeler. Are you that fucking stupid? You cut your police department completely down and out, and you cut out a gun violence reduction team that's going to be taking out a lot of these fucking thugs up there in Minnesota, and then all of a sudden you say, no shit, this ain't working out too well. It probably happened in my own neighborhood, so I need to put it back. That's a bad fucking decision you have, catering to Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Really bad. The lack of support has the state police fed up. The Oregon State Police spokesman, Captain Timothy R. Fox, said that they do not wish to use their resources in counties where crime is waved off, and they could be using them in counties where processing criminal behavior. Chicago is also suffering with crime reaching new heights as the city becomes increasingly lawless. Kreitzer says Chicago under one-thumb gangsters like Al Capone has new mob bosses and Marxist overlords with their mob strategy. The city of Chicago, the Chicago police shows that the city saw a 139% jump in murders, 75% uptick in shootings just during the month of July alone, 2020. And we're likely to see a lot of these disturbing statistics all across the country for months to come. So let me know what you think of the podcast. Like, share, subscribe. There's a lot of problems out there. Antifa and Black Lives Matter especially are not helping. They're helping destroy, again, via bought and paid for George Soros. They're destroying the United States. They need to be prosecuted as terrorists. You have a right in this country to protest peacefully. I don't mean with guns. I don't mean with bricks. I don't mean with knives or anything like that. But you have a right in this country under the Constitution and free speech as well, to protest peacefully, to peacefully assemble. We're always forgetting that. You don't have a right to burn down buildings. You don't have a right to maim and injure police that are trying to protect the community. You don't have a right to set fires. You don't have a right to throw bricks through windows and destroy property and burn everything down. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know who the fuck they think they are. They think that when they go out there and they get a brick and they have a little mask over their face, so they claim that you can't see them, they think they're fucking God. They're nothing but a bunch of little motherfucking devils is what they are. And they need to be prosecuted when you destroy other people's property like devils. Okay, folks? Like devils. And where do devils go? In the end, devils go straight to hell. And when these people want to do violence to other people, minding their own businesses and destroying other people's life secure and their businesses that they put their entire lives into. If you act like a devil, you need to be treated like a devil, and you need to be sent to hell. Treat terrorists, I consider them terrorists, just like anybody else. And the police and law enforcement, federal agencies should consider the same thing, because they are acting like terrorists. Okay, I'm out of here. This is Eric Erb Live. Like, share, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter. Always at theericerbshow.com, Spreaker.com / Eric Erb Live, and of course right here on Anchor, that's Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm / Eric Erb Live. Like, share, subscribe, folks, if you like this podcast. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. I'm out of here.